Welcome to the Nameless Blog. I'm your host, Kyle Berkeley, aka KB, Trap God with a Dad Bod. This is a very weird Nameless Blog. Reason being, I'm actually about to go live with WEAA as soon as we finish this. We're supposed to go live earlier. So if you hear my ringtone go off, it's not me being unprofessional. It's actually me waiting on them to send me the link so that way I could go live with WEAA with Morgan Radio for my interview. We're going to be promoting my book series, which was once the Tiffany Given Saga, which now has a brand new name for the saga. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who's been following the saga all along. And there's more into why the name change. All that and more very soon. But first, again, this is the Nameless Blog. I'm your host, Kyle Berkeley, aka Dr. Kyle Berkeley, and I could be found on all forms of social media at Berkeley for Us, except for Facebook. On Facebook, I am Dr. Kyle Berkeley or Kyle Berkeley 83, which there are now two Facebook pages. One is because main reasons because of where I work at my full time job, so I can't get access to the regular Facebook page that has 2,000 plus people. Um, so I have to use this other page while I'm at work. So that's why if it seems like I'm working off two Facebook pages at times, I am. And it's just because regular 9 to 5 hours, I'm on the backup page, which right now is more like a personal page. And the other one with the 2,000 plus people is now my professional page. We'll figure things out as we go along. And of course, I'm on Threads, Berkeley for Us, Instagram, Berkeley for Us, TikTok, Berkeley for Us. There is a Twitter that exists that I have. I do not use it at all. I haven't used it in years, to be honest with you. Like maybe from time to time when I would send something on Instagram, it would just some kind of way go across platforms or whatever. But I don't use the TikTok. I mean the Twitter. The handle is Berkeley for Us, but I gotta figure something out with that. Of course, Twitter did change to X, so I was probably being disrespectful by calling it Twitter instead of X, whatever. I don't know what you want me to say about that. So now that housekeeping is done, again, my name is Kyle Berkeley. Let's talk about some cool things. I have two books coming out um, in on June 10th. So the big marketing push employ has been celebrating freedom with Tiffany Gibbons, with the Tiffany Gibbons saga. And one of the major themes of this whole series has been freedom. And what is freedom in a lot of different ways? So, with that being said, two books coming out. One, we redid the original. The original book was The Wake, which came out in 2018. There was a lot of things that had to be done to really fix that book, and I did every last one of those things and more to make it an even better book. When it first came out, it was an 8.5 on books with benefits. Now the Wake Renaissance, the new working title for it, or the new title for it, is a 9.8 out of 10 on books with benefits, which is fantastic. Sorry, it's a 9.9 out of 10 on books with benefits. The Legacy was a 9.8. The Union, which is also coming out, which is a continuation of the series, which follows right after the events of the Legacy, is a 10.10 out of 10 certified classic. And that being said, I'm very happy about the Union and the Wake Renaissance coming out on the 10th. For those that's been rocking with me for a while, you know that the Union has been done and waiting since November-ish, late October, early November. It was all in the marketing. And when I realized that the marketing was going to be a rush job back in November, I kind of pulled back because I already knew going in that the Union was a very great book. That when I put it out for fillers with my beta readers and my critics and everything, resounding results. So I knew what it was going in, and I just wanted to make sure it was marketed correctly. And so far, mission accomplished. And soon I'll be showing you guys the trailer for all four books, actually. So currently, the Legacy is available, the Void's available, the Union and the Wake Renaissance will be available on June 10th. More on that very soon, actually. But right now, I want you guys to enjoy this trailer. Excuse me, there's a bar in the way, and I'm trying to get you guys to enjoy this trailer. Again, technology is not my friend. So here we go. The ultimate compilation trailer in the exact order that it should be read, starting with the Wake Renaissance, then going into the Void, then the Legacy, then the Union. And before I push play and show this to the world, I do want to say one thing only. The order number of the books have changed. So before the Void was book one, Legacy was book two, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to make the Wake Renaissance work because it is a prequel. Well, no, now it's just going to be book one. So book one is going to be now the Wake Renaissance, book two, the Void, book three, the Legacy, book four will be the Union. And if you read the original Wake, there are a lot of aspects from the original Wake in the Wake Renaissance, but it is a different book. It's a lot more fleshed out. It is from Tiffany's point of view, and there's a lot of connecting pieces to the Void, and there's a lot of connecting pieces to the Legacy, and there's a lot of connecting pieces to the Union, and a couple other books that's coming thereafter. We'll get into that very soon. But without further ado, say hello to my friends. So there we have it. That's the trailer for the Wake Renaissance, the Void, the Legacy, the Union, and dude, I feel great. And I had some other great news to announce, which I guess we could get right into it right now. So, like I said, the books are coming out. Well, the Union and the Wake Renaissance will be out June 10th. I'm working on some other books right now, which I could publicly mention because we're now ramping up and going into this area. In November, I plan on releasing a book called The Confession, which was kind of a secret project I wasn't making public that I was doing. So the confession is I'm just going to get downright honest with everybody. So while working on the transition, early on, and this is how the union actually came about, which is by far my best book so far. The idea was I wanted to tell the story about the Flamingo Club, which is a secret society, and you'll learn more about it when the union comes out. Well, actually, no, that's actually false. It's been touched on in every book except for the original, The Wake. So, but actually, what's weird is I did kind of allude to them in the original, The Wake. I just didn't realize it, which was a very genius mistake, I guess. I don't know. But I did allude to him, not realizing I alluded to him, and then I was able to flesh out and really do a little bit more Easter egging in the void. When you get to the last couple chapters, you'll see exactly what I mean in the void. In the legacy, they touched on a lot more, especially with Paul Douglas. There's a conversation that Paul Douglas has with who's the main antagonist of the legacy. Um, so Paul Douglas has a pretty good conversation with Tiffany at one point in the book. Not spoiling anything, but he really gives a little bit more information about the Flamingo Club. And then when I was working on the union, I realized not the union. When I was working on the transition, I realized there's no way I could really flesh out this whole story that I had with the Flamingo Club with Tiffany getting married and doing what I wanted to do with the Flamingo Club and like really show how powerful that they were. And mind you, the Union is a packed book. It's so much story. It's so much great story. You won't be able to put it down. I guarantee you that. It from the time you started to the time you put it down, you're just really engulfed in this massive, amazing mega story. And the smart thing that I did was I broke it up, which made so the Union was really a true introduction to the Flamingo Club, especially with certain characters like Hugo Titan. If you follow Void or you follow Legacy or if you follow the original The Wake, you know about Titan Industries and you know about the twins, Chandler and Chanel Titan. So Hugo Titan is their father. And you get to learn more of him. You get to learn of his role with the Flamingo Club. You get to learn about some of the other players in the Flamingo Club. There are some other characters involved that I do introduce. Paul, not, yeah, Paul or James DeLuca. Um, James DeLuca is another character that he's mentioned in the Void, or his company's mentioned in the Void, and is also mentioned in the Legacy, and you get to really get to meet him. Not re- You get to really meet him and get to understand his interactions with the family in the Union. So that's the reason why I did what I did because I really wanted to flesh out, and that was the best thing possible because it turned around and gave me classic, a classic novel to put out for everybody to enjoy. And really it was a cool story. Like it's a cool story with there's another serial killer in Baltimore City that's somewhat of a vigilante, and you really get to understand this person's reasoning and what happened and what led to this person doing what they're doing right now in the city. And there's a lot of other issues, like I mentioned, or like the trailer mentioned, there's a water crisis going on in the city because of outdated plumbing, and you add in the serial killer that's targeting a very specific group of youth in Baltimore City, which in real life we do have people who work corners, doing squeegee work on cars, like squeegeeing car windows in Baltimore City, because a lot of my fans live out of state, a lot of my readers live out of state, and so you have that aspect of things. And Baltimore, just like Philadelphia, has a huge dirt bike culture, and there's that aspect too. And this person who they have named the Charm City Strangler has targeted these two groups of youth, and you find out why. And I think it's very interesting when you really flesh out that story of the why. And on top of all that, you get to figure out what is freedom again, because you have a cult, which is Hakeem's family's church. And if you read the legacy, you know some things happen with Hakeem and his church that he inherited from Pastor Avery back during the events of the Wake, the original Wake, and the Wake Renaissance. That's those things are totems, I guess I could call it, because even though the original Wake is not canon to the series, there are some totems that happen in the original Wake that still will happen in the Wake Renaissance. So, with that being said, those events, actions, cause, um, and result. And sadly, it leads us to something that Hakeem has run from, dating back to the Wake, which was getting away from his parents' church. And now he and Tiffany are in his parents' church. It's alluded to from the beginning that his parents' church is a cult, even though it's a mega church, all that good stuff. And you get to see what this cult is all about. This religious cult is all about. And you get to see Tiffany's perception, and you also get to see more of the decomposition of Tiffany's psyche, and that is an ongoing thing. Actually, that's one of the cool caveats of the Wake Renaissance. Also, you really get to see the extremities of where Tiffany started out mental health wise, what led to her mental health wise, how she tries to hold it together. And the union just really sets that on a blaze. Like, you get to see really how Tiffany really knows, I don't want to say she knows how to pull it together, but she does so much and she takes on so many burdens while also dealing with her own mental illness. And that's a huge strength for Tiffany Gibbons. So I think you guys really appreciate those things, and it's a real cool story of cults. And if you follow true crime, you'll see where I borrowed a lot of things and kind of retold some stories, which is on par with the rest of the series, like I've done with the Void, and like I've done with the Legacy, and the Union still follows that, where we take some real true crime elements and we build a story around that, and we also tell some historical things about Baltimore in a fictitious kind of way, and we really get to have fun with it. Also, my bad, before I go any further, I wanted to give a huge shout out to my brother Comp, who provided the No Love song for the Wake Renaissance and for the Union trailer, and definitely a huge shout out to Ramel, who also helped out with the Legacy trailer, providing music for that as well. Um, so definitely a huge thanks to you guys. Music is going to be a real big part going into this series also, just because I'm planning on doing something very different and very interactive. I was going to wait before I made this announcement. I think I'm going to do it now. So there will be original instrumentals done by myself, which will be on my website, where you can actually sit back and read along with. Like, you could listen to certain instrumentals that I created during my time of being a producer for Arsenal Records and Less Money Productions, and you could listen to some of the tracks and vibe out while you're reading, and really just get a feel for maybe where I was at when I was working on certain chapters. And if you want to start from the beginning and of the series and work your way all the way up to the Union, you could really enjoy that feeling. And I might even throw some hints out to what songs kind of inspired this or what songs kind of inspired that. Because music is definitely something I love listening to while I'm going through my whole writing spill. Like, because I really like to get into a certain mood when I'm writing certain characters, and I really like to dive deeper. So music is definitely a way that I kind of tap into a certain part. And a lot of times I'll go back and listen to some of my old instrumentals just to figure out, okay, what field do I really want to go to? And it'll get me right where I want to be at. So I can really dive deeper and like I can really get lost into some production and go, you know what, let's go here, let's build this, let's really flesh this out. So be on the lookout. Check out kylesberkeley.com. There's some work going on the website right now. And as that's going on, you'll be noticing as we get closer to the 10th, there's going to be some music that's going to pop up on that page. All original work done by myself. Um, some of it dating back to 2003, and some of it very recent. I will have some new original tracks up there as well. So if you follow myself or you follow Poe and Rashid or Campaign or DJ Big Diesel or Michael Riley or Alan Stone, you might notice some tracks that I produced on there. And there's some other tracks that you'd be like, dude, I've never heard this before. What is this? Right. So it's going to be up there. So I wanted to put that out there. We're going to I wanted to do an interactive experience with the story. And like I said, I mentioned the confession will be out in November. There's a book called The Transition, which will be the final book in the series, and that's going to be out next year. And there's a book called Crossed, which is a comedy series, has nothing to do with the currently called Tiffany Gibbons saga. Crossed is its own story. It's a sci-fi comedy. That's the best way to put it. I'm working on that. It's a lot of fun putting it together. I really, really, really can't wait for you guys to experience that because it's a lot of fun. Writing Cross has been a whole lot of fun, and I've had to take breaks from it at times to get back to doing Confession because Confession is coming, and we'll talk more about Confession after the Wake Renaissance and the Union is out because Confession is next up. And the series is going to be called, this should come into no surprise, but the Tiffany Gibbons saga is going through a name change, which I'm not offended when people still call it Tiffany Gibbons saga, but it is going through a name change of 1234. 1234, for those who follow the series, you know that time, 1234, is very significant to Tiffany and her life. And I'm not going to spoil it to those that may be new readers to the series or new to this whole series. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. But it is something that constantly haunts Tiffany. That time constantly pops up in Tiffany's life, and it constantly haunts her. It constantly triggers her, and I feel like it's fitting to name or rename the series into the 1234 series instead of the Tiffany Gibbons saga at this time because we have developed a script for a pilot and we're working on a few more episodes as we speak. We finally have settled on a pilot script that we're all happy with. We're in the process of shooting and we have a lot, majority of the cast for the first couple episodes have been cast. So we have a Silk Diamond cast, we have a Tiffany Gibbons cast, we have a Sasha cast, we have a Gina cast, and so what's weird is we have a actor who could either play Ty, not Ty. We have an actor that could either play Keon or the same actor could either play Hakeem. And we're testing out with footage just to see which character does he flow better as. And if you follow the series, you know Hakeem sticks around for a long time. So we're just waiting to see. We're still playing around with some of the cast. and they just sent the link. Yay. So we're going to pause this and we're going to come back to this in a few because there's some more things coming along, such as we talked about the book order changing. There's been some retconning that happened, which those retcons that readers that have followed the original Wake and that went into this and go, dude, well, this doesn't line up. This doesn't line up. And I could mention some of the things that didn't line up in the original Wake because the original Wake was a standalone book. It was never really meant to be a series, even though I realized there was so much potential for it to be a lot better and to be a series because there was so much that was left on the plate. So there was some retconning that happened, which makes the Wick Renaissance so much better because it actually flows better with the series. And some of that retconning would be the Alex Tillman, a lot of stuff with Alex Tillman, especially with him and Edward Carter. That a lot more with Alex Tillman's relationship with Edward Carter. There's more stuff with Tiffany and Sasha in the Wick Renaissance, like their relationship. You get to really see how close they really were in the Wake Renaissance. Instead of you being dumped into the relationship in the void, you get more of that. You get more of the mental health and crime focus in the series because this is a crime drama. And it's a crime drama told from a citizen's perspective. And it just so happens that citizen has a lot of mental health problems and a lot of trauma. And diving into the next segment before we come to a close is what I'm watching. So currently, I'm watching X-Men '97. We're coming up on the season finale. I think it's a three-part, so it's two more parts left in the season finale. I'm loving it. The animation is great. I'm loving a lot of the changes and the choices that they're making. I'm loving the different comic book runs that they're pulling from. It's very exciting. I'm watching the second part of season 2 of Invincible. I'm enjoying that. I'm still watching Bob's Burgers, making my way through and that's it. I know the boys is coming up in June, so I really want to be finished by then. For those that don't know, I was part of a group called Arsenals or R Dash, and it seems like Campaign and I may be doing a podcast together soon, which was a rap partner. And we actually was supposed to have been a two-man group at one point in time. So the transition album that or GMB Volume One was actually towards the end of that being put together, there was discussion amongst Poe, myself, and CTG about making that into a group album. And it just so happened there was so much work done. It would have been a lot of forced work to try to make it into a group album. And we were off and on discussing making it, well, actually just doing a group album. That's why you would see CT and I do a lot of tracks together, like Breathe and looking out my window and a lot of those tracks. And we just didn't want it to be forced. But it looks like we're going to be doing a cast. And now that I'm a member, official member of the Black Writers Guild, and really active in there, there's some things going on behind the scenes with Odessa Rose and I. We'll get into that later. And before I close out, I want to do my top 10. So this week's top 10 is top 10 diss tracks of all times. So I have some honorable mentions. And as I always say, these are just my views. Do not take it personal. Okay. If I happen to leave your favorite diss tracks out or whatever like that, it's just what I choose is my top 10. But I'm going to start off with my honorable mentions. Of course, one of my favorite rappers of all times. I have to put him on here. Cameron, his song Curtis, which was a 50 Cent diss. It was hilarious. And the how fast he put it out at that time when we were all just kind of getting our feet wet with the internet. Cam had just quickly, like it started off with a whole radio interview thing with Koch Records and 50 Cent talking about buying Koch Records and stuff like that. To Cam just like, you know what? I'm going to the booth. I'm recording this track, Curtis. And I made a video. That gorilla with rabbit teeth line. It was hilarious. Um, the next one, Piggy Bank by 50 Cent. Reason why I had to put that on here 50 has so many great diss records. It's he has one in my top 10. Actually, he has two on my top 10. So it's like hard to pick which ones I wanted to put in, which ones I wanted to take out. So Piggy Bank by 50, Euphoria, and Meet the Grimes by Kendrick Lamar. That's on the list. And I'm going to pause for. Okay, cool. So one cool thing that just happened is I just was able to um, record on WEAA, on their show, on and we were able to talk about the Wake Renaissance. We were able to talk about the Union. We were able to talk about the original of the Wake, and it was really good. The show's called the Flex Zone. I'm not sure when the show's going to air, but I'll definitely share it with everybody. So that's the reason why I had to pause the show to get back to go over there. But getting back to the top 10 list for those that, well, we would just talk about the top 10 diss tracks of all times, and we were doing the honorable mention list. So on the first one is Curtis by Cameron, which is a 50 Cent diss, and that came at the helm of 50 saying that he could boycott records and he could hold up people like Styles P and Jim Jones and Cam, their records being released, and that turned into a whole spout on the radio, which Cam immediately went to the studio and recorded one of the funniest diss records of all time towards 50 Cent with the Gorilla with Rabbit Teeth line was hilarious. Again, for those that don't know, 50's in my top 10 of all time favorite rappers of all time. So this is not a slight towards 50. I love yo, but that was a fun time as far as battle rap. I think 50 would admit that. Maybe not. I don't know. The next honorable mention is Piggy Bank by 50 Cent. And the reason why it's an honorable mention and not on the top 10 list is because I have two 50 Cent songs actually on my actual top 10 list. And it was hard to pick which ones I wanted to keep on honorable mentions versus which ones I wanted to put in the top 10. So, um, yeah, just for right now, well, just for this, uh, it's an honorable mention, even though it could have definitely been on the top 10. Actually, I don't know. I actually don't know, but I feel like it's safe as an honorable mention. Euphoria and Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar is just how it was crafted, how each bar had a very strong, specific meaning on both songs. Kendrick Lamar is just a phenomenal artist. And I just finished doing this recording for the Flex Zone, and in there I mentioned hip hop is an art form, and it's a culture, and it's a lot to be a hip hop artist. There's a lot of people who are rappers. I consider my what I used to do as rap. I was a hip hop producer, but as far as a artist, Poe was definitely the hip hop artist out of everybody in the group. Like myself, CT, um, Rashid. I think Rashid was more so a hip hop artist as well. CT was like he was a tweener. Like he definitely was a hip hop artist. He was also a rapper. Um, I I had flashes where I was kind of like a hip hop artist, but I was more of a rapper, just being honest. But I was definitely a hip hop producer more than a rap producer. Um, so there's a difference. There's a real art and a craft to hip hop. And with Kendrick Lamar is a legit hip hop artist. There's a lot of rappers, and when you're battle rapping and you're battle rapping against a hip hop artist, and you're just a rapper, you're at a huge disadvantage because that creativity lens of a hip hop artist is well beyond the scope of what you can imagine. Trust me. Um, the next honorable mention was Crawling, which was a Jay Z diss by Mob Deep. The next, so this is where things are going to get weird in my honorable mentions. There's a track called Bully where Eminem goes in on Benzino. And I remember the first time I heard that track, it was on some hip hop website that I used to listen to. and it used to have like all the latest diss tracks and everything, like everybody who's beefing in the industry and everything. And Bully was one of those tracks that was like, whoa, this is dope. This is so different and it's so dope. And Eminem has this talent for making beats that reflect a certain emotion that he wants to go with lyrically. And I was able to like, I mean, I never was at the level that M was as an artist, but I was able to do that with tracks like By Myself and Voice of the Block and My Love Song, Bring Me Down. Um, I Got a Thing for You. It's like when you produce a track, you could go for a very specific feeling with your music that I don't think you could do if you rhyme over somebody else's beat. Eminem did that with Bully, and it's just like, yeah, I don't think there's no other producer that could have captured what Eminem was going for in that track, in that diss track, and really bring out what Eminem brought out, like how M did with Bully. Go to Sleep, again, another one of those tracks that M produced, and it really conveyed a lot. And it was a cool diss track with M on it. Of course, it had DMX and it had Obi Trice. Obi Trice is somebody I definitely would love to talk about on a future cast, just because I think Obi was a phenomenal rhymer, and I don't think we actually ever got to see Obi's true potential as an artist. And he, like I said, Obi Trice is a phenomenal artist, and I would love to hear some more work from him. Shoot, if I was still producing, I would love to have work with Obi. Um, Square Dance, Eminem, again, another one of Eminem's beats, another one of those things where Eminem really gets to shine and really flexes lyrical muscles on. Um, Back Down by 50 Cent. So this one I was going to put in the top 10. And the reason why I didn't is because of the two songs in the top 10. I think that they kind of overshadowed Back Down. But Back Down, the opening bars, your mama, your daddy, yeah, it just Eminem just came in, and 50 just came in on one on Back Down, and it was just like really hot. Chris Brown, Weakest Link. Go to YouTube, listen to it right now. Go to Apple Music, listen to it right now. You'll understand. It could have easily been on the top 10. It's just not. Beanie Siegel's Put Your Hands Up. It could have easily been on the top 10. It's just not. Beans just went in, and like there's another one where Beans is like I'm not your average cat. Where Beans is going in on Jay. I didn't put that on there because that was a real personal track between Beans, and that's the only reason why I didn't even mention that in honorable mentions. Is because like Beans was being an artist. You know, he was just flexing his feelings in a way that most artists know how, and that is going to that art form and just getting out that raw emotion. And it's you just have to listen to it. So now we're going to get into the actual top 10. So coming at number 10 is Second Round Knockout by Cannabis. I'm gonna let the world know the truth. You don't want me to shine. So that was different because this is the 90s that we're talking about. Cannabis was just on the 4321. He was set to be one of the biggest MCs ever. He was a battle rapper, amazing freestylers, amazing vocabulary, crazy delivery, and was just out of this world. And the 4321 song happened, and then off came the fireworks, and just as quick as Cannabis stardom was about to happen, also Cam was one of those people that was attached to Wyclef, so Cannabis was definitely going to be a superstar because at the time Wyclef had Lauryn Hill, he had the Fijis, which Lauryn Hill was a part of, I know, and Wyclef was one of those producers that didn't miss, and Cannabis was already doing work with Big Pun and DMX. I want to say Nori. Don't get me don't get it twisted. I could be completely wrong. I know it was somebody else because at one point in time we called them the Four Horsemen. I want to say it was Nori. It might not have been because I know Nori was with Capone and Noriega, CNN. Um, anyway, Cannabis is on its way. and he got hit by a brick wall. We'll talk about that brick wall in a few minutes. But that brick wall really derailed Cannabis' career in a horrible way, and Cannabis never really recovered to the potential that he could have. The next is number nine, Steve Jobs by Lupe Fiasco. I have to be honest on this one. I've been a Lupe fan since Kick Push, Kick Push, Kick Push, and Coast. I love Lupe as a lyricist. I love Lupe and a lot for what he stands for and his music content and how he could really hold his own, like when he went up against Bill O'Reilly on national TV. When he went against Royce, and I'm a big Royce fan. Have been from Royce's first album that he put out, and um, Rock City, and growing up, Death is Certain and all those other albums that he put out, like definitely was a big fan of Royce. And when Royce and Joe and Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye or King Crooked had started Slaughterhouse, I was there for it. I loved it. And when they wound up signing in Shady, like I was there for it. Like I was happy. Hey, look, they're on a major label, and Shady's going to back them, and this could be a good restart for Shady as well because of D12 and everything like that. So let's see what happens. So I really thought Royce, and this is not a knock towards Lupe because again, I am a huge fan of Lupe. I didn't know Lupe as a battle rapper, so I thought Royce was going to skull drag Lupe, and Lupe just dismantled that whole thing to the point that I don't think Royce has ever responded. I could be wrong, and this isn't me disrespecting Royce at all. Um, but it was that was wow, like legit wow. Um, so that's number nine. Number eight is Wankster for multiple reasons. Number eight is Wankster. Um, One, I remember this is 2003, 2004, 2002 could have been. I had a white car back then. So it was either 2001, 2002. I got kicked out my mom's house for doing something stupid. I'm staying over at my cousin Ron's house out in PG. And, I'm staying over there for a while. And Ron used to get all these underground mixtapes, so we used to always listen to underground music. We didn't really listen to a lot of mainstream. So like people like Cormega and stuff like that was people who I was following. And that's why I was a long time fan of Royce because Royce was kind of like an underground artist for me. He wasn't like a real mainstream artist to me. So like I really liked a lot of underground hip hop. So when Wankster Head came out, it was on one of the mixtapes that my cousin Ron had, and I listened to it. One morning he just blasted one of the mixtapes and brushing the teeth. I'm like, yo, is that 50? Because mind you, I've followed 50 ever since How to Rob. And I remember hearing the first time I heard How to Rob, I was in my Uncle Charles's car. Uncle Charles was taking me and my cousin Little Charles back from the mall. He had took us out for the weekend, and Uncle Charles used to try to do stuff to get me out the hood to show me nice things during the weekends when my pops would be at work or whatever like that. So, and that was when I first heard Fifth, and I was like, dude, this dude's fire. I like 50. And then it was like I would catch certain songs from 50 on different mixtapes, and Ron and I were big 50 fans. So when he had the joint Wankster playing that, I was like, yo, is that 50? Like, yo, run that back, play that again. We started to join. I'm like, yo, I like the beat. I like how 50 is the flow 50, the approach how he's doing, and he's like really going on job, whatever. And again, this isn't a knock on John. But it was just like, whoa, this is cool. I like this. I like this a lot. And the track was Flames, and it was such a good diss track. You could hear it in a club. And I used to have a rule like, dude, I don't want to hear a diss track in a club. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a diss track should be just what it is. You shouldn't be marketing a diss track. But nah, Wankster was different. because it was marketable. It even had a cool video that I think it was it charted at one point. I could be wrong, but yeah, Wankster at number 8 because that was the beginning of 50 changing the game. Little did we know, sometime later, 50 was going to get signed to Shady and After. Number 7, Rip the Jacker Strikes Back by LL Cool J. That was a direct response to number 10, Second Round Knockout by Cannabis. And that track right there just slaughtered Cannabis's career. It was all over the radio, back to back to back to back. It was the beat, the everything. It was just a time in hip hop. Oh my gosh, it was a time in hip hop. Number 6 is Hail Mary by 50 Cent, Eminem, and Busta Rhymes. I don't even know how Busta Rhymes got involved with that beat, to be honest. I know he had signed to Aftermath, but I have no idea how Busta Rhymes got involved with that Ja Rule beat. To this day, I'm still confused. But wow, just period. Wow. Number 5, Miss Jackson by the Locks. That was the Locks one at 50 Cent for the piggy bank joint, and Jaden Styles just rips and kills it. Um, number four, number four could have been anywhere, Rock, really. Um, and I'm gonna tell you why. Number 4 and number 3 are interchangeable. It they are actually number 3 top, but for the and it's weird now because I kind of want to put number 4 at number 3, but I'm gonna just tell you what it is. Number 4 is Takeover by Jay Z, and the reason why I say I could put number 4 at number 3 is because Jay didn't just go at Nas. Jay went at Mob Deep. Jay went at basically all of New York, and the arrogance, the gravitas, the everything Jay brought in that track, and Kanye West is just killing it on the beat. It's just yeah, that bass line hit, and you just like, oh yeah, Jay's that dude. You know what I mean? It's like, and he's just going in, lyrically, bar for bar, and it was a whole vibe. And but number 3 was Ether, or is Ether, and without a doubt, one of the best rap songs ever up until this point in Nas's career. I don't think I've ever heard Nas in a battle. Of course, I know Nas mentioned in Godson that Kicking the Door was for him on Notorious B.I.G.'s like that album. And yeah, Ether was flames. Like he just dismantled Jay Z's 5 mic album, The Blueprint, bar for bar. He just dismantled the whole work. Number 2, Hit 'Em Up by Tupac. Anybody that doesn't have Tupac's Hit 'Em Up at number 1 or 2 is insane. Um, Main reason why is because you anytime you start off an argument with first of all, just know somebody's about to really come at your neck. You're about to really lose a fight, and you have no idea how much you're about to lose. Like anytime somebody starts off with first of all, they're coming at you now. Like there is no friendly fire. There is no we're going to dap this up and talk this out later. No, we at war. First of all, is definitely fighting words to the full extent of fighting words. And number 1, Ice Cube, No Vaseline. I don't think there's no secrets here. It shouldn't be nobody should be shocked about that. And that's my top 10. So honorable mentions. Let's go through it again. Honorable mentions for best rap beef tracks or top 10 diss tracks of all times. Honorable mentions: Cameron, Curtis, 50 Cent, Piggy Bank, Kendrick Lamar, Euphoria, and Meet the Grams, Mob Deep, Crawling, Eminem, Bully, Eminem, DMX, and Obi Trice, Go to Sleep, Eminem, Square Dance, 50 Cent, Back Down, Chris Brown, Weakest Link, and Beanie Siegels, Put Your Hands Up. Top 10 diss tracks of all times: Cannabis, Second Round Knockout, Lupe Fiasco, Steve Jobs, 50 Cent, Wankster, LL Cool J, The Ripper Strikes Back, Eminem, Busta Rhymes and 50 Cent, Hail Mary, The Locks, Miss Jackson, Jay Z, Takeover, Nas, Ether, Tupac, Hit 'em Up, and at number one, Ice Cube, No Vaseline. My name is Kyle Berkeley. I could be reached on all forms of social media at Berkeley for Us, except for Facebook. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Kyle Berkeley. I'm not on Twitter, but I am on Threads at Berkeley for Us. The four is the digit four. Please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe on my TikTok. Like and subscribe on all my forms of social media. And again, the Wake Renaissance and the Union will be out very soon on June 10th. I am going to be having a virtual book release for the books. I'm inviting everybody to join me in the virtual book release. You're more than welcome to attend and come on board. On Facebook right now, I have the little invite thing set up, so please feel free to come on out and enjoy and enjoy two great books that are coming out. Um, the Wake Renaissance, a 9.9 out of 10. The Union, 10 out of 10. So you have two classic books coming out. One is the first book in the series. The other is it's the fourth book in the series. Currently, The Void and the Legacy are out now. You can get them on all major platforms. We're in the process of shooting the live action series, which is called 1234. There's your surprise. And I don't think it should be a surprise if you follow the series. You know that time 1234 comes up a lot in the series. So um, there's that. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show the trailer one more time and bid you all adieu. Have a great night. Wow, great show. See y'all next week. Peace.